Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing School Reunion from Series 2 of Doctor Who. Now this is a Patreon request from one of my patrons, the 5th Doctor, one of my top tier patrons. He seems to be in a mood for me to do some Tennant stuff, so he's had me working on some Tennant stuff lately. I like School Reunion a lot. There's a lot of good things going on in this episode, and I have seen this episode probably a dozen times. I love it. It has my favorite companion in it with Sarah Jane. I absolutely love Sarah Jane. I'm so glad that they brought her back because she's always been like the companion from Classic Who for me. I mean, the companion overall for me, but especially from Classic Who. If there was any Classic Who companion they needed to bring back, especially this early in the show, it was Sarah. She just has that connection with a lot of fans. And apparently it resounded well because, you know, she went to do Sarah Jane Adventures and show back up in Doctor Who. It's a testament to just how popular this character was and just how amazingly well Elizabeth Sladen played that character. And with Elizabeth sadly gone now, it really makes my day that she did get to spend a few years back in this role, doing Sarah Jane Adventures and introducing this character to a whole new generation who have also grown in love with her and have gone back and watched her, some of them in the classic show as well. One of the reasons this episode works is the dynamic between the Doctor and Sarah is phenomenal. Even though it's a different actor playing the Doctor than when she was in the classic show, you still get this bond between them and how close they are. Elizabeth and David do this so well, and I'm pretty sure David was fanboying while he was doing this episode, I'm sure, because I know how much he loves classic Doctor Who. But even if you've never seen the classic show, you can still get, just from School Reunion, the bond they had and the bond they have and how close they are. It's written so well, it's acted so well that you can still get that connection. You know, seeing Classic Who isn't a prerequisite to understanding how close they are and how close they were. And that's really a testament to how strong this episode is done, performance and writing-wise. Right off the bat, the opening of the episode is really mind-blowing. We have Anthony Head, is that his name? I really like Anthony as an actor. I know he's in Buffy. I don't watch Buffy, but I know he's in it. And I remembered he was in Merlin as well, and I liked him in that. I like him as an actor. He's really good. He has a real presence and a real charisma to him in this story. And in general, he usually does, but in this story. And right at the beginning, you know, he sees a student, a little girl outside his office. You know, he's kind of the head principal or whatever. And he's like, "Why are you here?" And you find out she's an orphan. He's like, "Oh, I see why they sent you to me. Well, come on in. It's almost lunchtime." And then when she goes in, you hear the wah and see the bat wings come up. And you realize they just ate this little girl. I mean, and there had to be more than one in there because Anthony mentions later that that is his actual form. It's not an illusion like the others. So there had to be some others in the room. But this little girl that's, "I don't have a mommy and daddy," you know, she's basically an orphan. You realize that as soon as that door closed and the camera can't see anymore, she died. And not only that, she probably had a pretty terrifying and excruciating and painful death. I mean, they ate her. And it's a child. It's a little girl. Like, we're talking elementary school girl. And I'm like, whoa. Right out of the gate of this episode, even before the titles, I think it is. So, you know, you don't see that a lot in television now, especially even Doctor Who. I mean, they wouldn't do it in Doctor Who now. But just, you know, we just basically saw a child get brutally murdered and eaten, and that, like, this episode might go to a dark place. That's pretty brutal when you really start thinking about that scene. And I like when Doctor Who can go there with stuff like that, because, you know, tragic things happen. So right out of the gate, I'm like, okay, this episode's intriguing. And then I like the little friction between Rose and Sarah. I like how immediately they both have each other's hackles up. And they're looking at each other like, hi. I think that's even how Elizabeth Sladen does it. Hi. They don't like each other at all. It's funny watching them start to bond over the episode, especially when they're trading insults. That bit about the Daleks met the Emperor, the Loch Ness Monster. Really? And they laugh at each other. That's wonderful. And I love when they start joking about it. Does he still lovingly stroke parts of the TARDIS? Yes! And then when Tennant walks in the room, they just look at him and start laughing. I love that scene. And he's just like, what? That's really good. Billy Piper and Elizabeth do really good with that. I like seeing K9 back. K9 Mark III from K9 and Company. I always love K9, especially when John is voicing K9, and I love having John back. It's really neat seeing some of the shots he used when he fights. There's this one shot, they even used it in the trailer for Series 2 when it first came out, where it's like an aerial view where the camera kind of pans around him as he's firing the laser upward at the flying things. That's such a dynamic shot that you couldn't do with classic Who. And it looks really neat that it's this kind of 70s looking prop with this cool shot of it firing lasers. I love that shot. The bit at the end where K9 has to sacrifice himself. And again, it's not K9 Mark 1 or K9 Mark 2, which we're more familiar with, but it's still K9. And so the fact that even the Doctor's like, I can't let you do that. And he's like, no alternative. You good dog. Affirmative. And I like the part at the end when right before the explosion happens and Anthony's like, you're a bad doggy. He's just like, affirmative. I love that. Something about the way how when he calls him a bad doggy, K9's still like, affirmative. I love that. It's like he's being a smart aleck one last time. I really enjoy that scene. And it hits me too. Especially, I think, people who are fans of classic Who, who love K9, that still kind of hits you a little bit. It hit me a little bit the first time I watched it. It still does, actually. Especially right before he blows him up when Tennant leaves and it shows K9 from the back and you just see him slowly roll up to the canister. Kind of that lone hero walking into that situation that he knows there's no way out of, a Kobayashi Maru scenario, basically. It's a beautiful little camera shot, and I really enjoy it. It's an interesting episode for Rose because she kind of sees that, you're not the only person that's traveled with him like this. You're special. You might not understand that you're special because only certain people can be companions, but there have been other companions, and that life after the Doctor can take some adjusting to. She's kind of seeing what could potentially be her future, and her having to come to terms with that, and him explaining to her, you can spend the rest of your life with me, but I can't spend the rest of my life with you. You grow old and you die, I go on. That's the curse of the Time Lords. It's a beautiful speech, and it encapsulates everything that he has to be dealing with right there, because he is still dealing with all the Time War stuff. This is very early in Ten's run. I like the confrontations between Anthony and the Doctor as well, the Headmaster and the Doctor, because there is a mutual respect there, but man, there's so much tension when they're talking. Like when the Doctor, I like how Tennant still has this edge to him, because he does have an edge underneath. That if I don't like it, it will stop. That bit about you get one warning, that was it. When they're sitting there facing each other down, there's a mutual respect there, but Tennant definitely has this do not screw with me, I will end you tone to this. It's like you may be, who you think you are, but you have to understand who I am. Fear me, I've killed all the Time Lords, basically. So I enjoy the scenes between them. I like the scene when Anthony is explaining to him what the children are trying to do, and and he's talking about, someone like you, the face of the universe and the face of Mr. Finch or whatever. No, someone like you, think what we could do with your help. And he talks about, and you even see Tennant, I could bring all the Time Lords back. And then Sarah does that great speech about, everything has its time and everything ends. Whether it's a world or a relationship. That's a beautiful speech from Elizabeth Sladen. Kind of echoing what Eccleston said when he had to let Cassandra die in Into the World. And I like that speech, especially, and it hits me even harder now with Elizabeth gone. When I watch that episode and she says that line. It's a beautiful line, though. It's one of those lines I feel like maybe when the Doctor's been traveling too long and he starts going a little over the edge, maybe Time Lord Victorious territory, when he goes a little too far, that he kind of needs to remind himself, he kind of needs to hear that line in his head to kind of rein him back in. Everything has its time. Everything ends. I really enjoy that. I like the fact the chips are making everybody smarter too. That's a little fun. There is some humor in this episode I do enjoy as well. and you screamed like a little girl. Mickey, whoa! That's funny. That's funny. What are they doing with the rats? They dissect them. Have you not reached that part yet? Oh, they haven't done that in ages. What are you from, the Dark Ages? It has this fun little humorous bit. If only there was a way we could get in there. We are in a car. Well, I don't know what we could do. We are in a car. We're in a car. And that bit when Mickey realizes he's the tin dog. I'm the tin dog. Yeah, I love all those little bits. They do add the little humorous bits to kind of keep it interesting. And so there's some really good conversation pieces in this. Of course, the scene when Elizabeth finds the TARDIS, when Sarah Jane finds the TARDIS, you know, she walks in and it's just there. And the way they shoot it, when it's just kind of looming over her with that eerie glow, and Murray Gold's little piece of music that plays over it, it's so eerie and creepy and not off-putting in a bad way, but off-kilter slightly. The way it does that shot of her seeing the TARDIS there, and the music with it. It's a beautiful shot. And then that wonderful camera pan, when she backs out of the room, the camera pans around her, and you just see the 10th Doctor standing there behind her with this very enigmatic look on his face. The fact he's found her and knows she's found the TARDIS, and he's just standing there. That shot, that look on Tennant's face is perfect. And I love that camera shot when it pans over and he's just there behind her. And you're just like, hello, Sarah Jane. That in that exchange when they first talk right there, it's wonderful. It's a wonderfully done scene, well written, well acted, and well directed. It's such a good episode. I really like School Reunion. It's one of my favorite episodes from Series 2. I think it's a testament to the fact that Sarah Jane, it led to Sarah Jane becoming so popular for a whole new generation, with her getting her own show, which ran, 5 seasons and only stopped because Elizabeth passed away. It probably would have continued going on. And the fact we got to see her again later in the show as well, all the way through Journey's End, and then she even got to meet the 11th Doctor in Death of the Doctor. So, yeah, I really enjoy School Reunion. It's good performances, good writing, and good acting. I don't really know what more I can ask for from a Series 2 Doctor Who story. So yes, School Reunion, one of my favorites from Series 2. What do you think of School Reunion? Comment down below and let me know, because I always enjoy hearing from you guys. I want to give a shout out to the 5th Doctor for his continued support as one of my top tier patrons and for requesting this video. I want to give a shout out to Stephen Crane as well, another one of my top tier supporters. If you would like to join my Patreon, there's a link to that down in the description below. I also have a P.O. box down there if you would like to send me anything, and a link to my Amazon wish list and my Amazon UK wish list is down there as well. I update those regularly. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and click that like button and that subscribe button if you've enjoyed this video and you want to hear more about Doctor Who, because I do love talking about Doctor Who. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.